Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
In today's financial news, the Dow Jones Industrial Average soared 213.8 points, or 2.1%, breaking above its 200-day moving average of 10,356, a key level watched by technicians. It hasn't traded above its 200-day average since May 19th. The S&P was up 2.4%, boosted by a gain in every sector. The Nasdaq Composite rallied 2.8%, helped by remarks from Best Buy after the electronics chain said in its fiscal first quarter earnings announcement that it saw strength in notebook PC sales, an area of high margins for computer makers. The comments raised hopes for the sector as a whole, though analysis sales expectations for Best Buy itself were higher than the company reported. Best Buy shares tumbled 6.1%. The gains pushed the S&P slightly into the positive territory for the year, up by 0.13 points. The Dow pulled within 24 points of its 2009 finish. In today's U.S. news, President Obama stepped up his efforts to limit the economic fallout from the oil spill, announcing steps to assure consumers that seafood from the Gulf of Mexico is safe and promoting tourism in the region as BP, under pressure from the White House, agreed to accelerate the cleanup. On his fourth trip to the region since the rig explosion that set off the leak, Mr. Obama visited Mississippi and Alabama a day before he was to deliver an address from the Oval Office in his most visible step yet to show that his administration is in command of what he has called the nation's worst environmental disaster. Responding by the request by the administration over the weekend, BP announced a plan to siphon 40 to 53,000 barrels of oil a day from its leaking well by the end of June, up from the current 15,000 barrels a day. Under the plan, which essentially pushes BP's containment schedule forward by 2 weeks, the company will also bring in more vessels and other backup equipment to cope with bad weather or unforeseen problems. BP's optimism about its previous efforts to deal with the situation has frequently proven unfounded. BP's board met to consider a White House demand that it establish an account to pay spill claims as investors and officials raised questions about the company's long-term financial strength. The company's $10.5 billion annual dividend has become a point of contention, with a host of critics in the United States saying that it should not be paying out profits to stockholders when huge cleanup costs still loom and when fishermen, oil workers, and small business owners say they are having trouble getting compensation from the company. While BP still has billions of dollars in cash flow that presumably can cover the cost, there is concern about its future. In today's health news, the maternity ward in Rwanda District Health Center is nothing fancy. It has no running water, and the delivery room is little more than a pair of padded benches with stirrups. But the blue paint on the walls is fairly fresh, and the labor room beds have mosquito nets inside. 3 generations of family are relaxing on one bed: Rachel, her daughter Chantal, and Chantal's baby boy. The little prince is the first in his line to be delivered in a clinic rather than on the floor of a mud hut. But he is not the first with health insurance. Both his mother and grandmother have it, which is why he was born here. Rwanda has had national health insurance for 11 years now. 92% of the nation is covered, and the premiums are $2 a year. But it covers the basics. The most common causes of death, diarrhea, pneumonia, malaria, malnutrition, and infected cuts are treated. Local health centers usually have all the medicines on the World Health Organization's list of essential drugs and have laboratories that can do routine blood and urine analysis, along with tuberculosis and malaria tests. Since the insurance, average life expectancy has risen to 52 from 48 despite a continuing AIDS epidemic. In today's entertainment news, the journey is dangerous and daunting, but circumnavigating the globe was a voyage that teen sailor Abby Sunderland says she was more than prepared for. I think a lot of people are judging me by the standards they have for their teens, and other teens that they know are thinking she's exactly like them. The 16-year-old Abby, who disappeared in the Indian Ocean but was rescued 3 days later, tells the Associated Press they don't understand that I've sailed my whole life and I do know what I'm doing out there. Speaking by phone en route to Reunion Island near Madagascar, where she will meet her family in the next few weeks, Sunderland also answered critics who questioned how her parents could let a teenager sail around the world by herself. It can look pretty crazy, but the thing is, those people don't know me, and if they did, they wouldn't be criticizing my age. Sunderland's hopes of successfully going around the world may be over, but only temporarily. The California teen, whose older brother Zach completed his own solo circumnavigation at age 17, says she still loves sailing and would like to kick off another voyage one day soon. In today's international news, Defense Secretary Robert Gates expressed frustration with Turkey over its refusal to support a new round of United Nations sanctions against Iran. But he suggested that the alliance between Washington and Ankara remains robust. "I'll be honest, I was disappointed in Turkey's vote in the Iranian sanction," Mr. Gates said at the end of a two-day meeting at the defense ministers at the headquarters of NATO in Brussels. But he added, "Allies don't always agree on things, but we move forward from here." The United Nations Security Council leveled its fourth round of sanctions against Iran. Seeking to halt Iran's production of nuclear fuel, President Obama hailed the resolution as the toughest sanctions yet against the Iranian government.
When you've got a serious leak, it's time for Leakender 2000. It fixes any leak fast, no matter what's leaking. Just spray it with Leakender 2000, and in minutes, the leak is sealed. Look, we'll cut this garden hose with a knife, then shut off the water and spray on Leakender 2000. Minutes later, the hose is as good as new. The cut is sealed. Leakender 2000 is a unique compound that fills and seals any crack or separation as it hardens. Why put up with gushing gutters, dripping drains, wet windowsills, and rain-soaked RVs? Leakender 2000 stops all those leaks, and it's yours for only $14.95. Call now and we'll double your order. We'll send you this giant-size can at no extra charge. Order now.
To order, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-936-0300 or send check or money order for $14.95 plus $5.95 shipping to the address on your screen. Call 1-800-936-0300.
In today's tech news, Nintendo's new 3DS hardware is, in one word, unbelievable. The company didn't talk about how its stunning technology works during a brief demo for members of the press, but work it does. Without using special glasses, you can see deep, rich 3D display on the top screen of the new Nintendo 3DS Portable. The short interactive demos Nintendo showed after its conference included peeks of a new Metal Gear Solid and Resident Evil games. A slider on the right-hand side of the screen lets you adjust how deep the 3D effect looks. You can take it all the way down to 0 and see the games in 2D, or you can crank it up about 80% intensity, was just right for everyone's eyes. When the 3D effect was turned all the way up, you can't quite focus on the screen in front of you. It'll likely be different depending on the individual player. Konami is producing a version of its hit PlayStation 3 game, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, for the Nintendo 3DS. The demo showed a first-person sequence in which all sorts of crazy things happen to hero Solid Snake. All playing with the 3D effect. Knives flew at the camera and massive alligators snapped its long jaws. The graphics, which are much more advanced than you'd expect from Nintendo, left people in disbelief. They're on a level with the Sony PSP, probably even a little better than that. But the eye-popping 3D effect makes everything that much better. In today's green news, Holly Thatcher is offering a new, clean, simple concept in architecture, the pop-up from Houseport. Dwell includes it in their Houses We Love section, seeing it addresses the demand for low-cost, stylish, and sustainable residential homes. And Habitat calls it a stylish and affordable, eco-friendly prefabricated kit. It is a clever mix of two systems, an inexpensive portal frame supporting a steel roof and a system commonly used for industrial purposes, and underneath, two boxes made from SIP, a highly efficient building panel. I like the separate roof that creates shade and ventilation. Sun will rarely reach those boxes and they will be cooler, and SIPs have a lot of insulation value, and it is unlikely that this house will need much air conditioning. There are some issues. The OSB has formaldehyde and the styrofoam is built of HBDC, fire retardant. I have suggested that polystyrene doesn't belong in green building. It might also be a stretch to call it a concept that marries the image of Apple with the ease and assembly of IKEA and has a construction cost of less than $100 per square foot. They're only providing a pile of panels. The framing of a home is only a small portion of the cost of a home. The bulk of the bucks in a home are on other things. Houseport says in their website, the pop-up house package does not come with any finishing materials. Kitchens, bathrooms, door, wall, floor treatments, plumbing, lighting, and appliances are all the responsibility of the owner. The owner is responsible for the site preparation and foundation required to build the pop-up home as well. A buyer is really getting the bare-bones structure with a lot of flexibility in determining how green to complete the home. There are definitely things to love here. It has been good policy to put on a hat when it is sunny for buildings as well as people. The double roof creates some very nice outdoor spaces and definitely will keep them cool and comfy. I do worry that they call it a modular home in their introduction. After all, it is a kit. I think it's a stretch to call it a house for under $100 a square foot. And how does anyone define the green houses these days? It is, after all, much more than just saving money on air conditioning. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.